I think Noah Lyles, Vinny, was playing to the crowd, and he definitely had that take saved in drafts for a long time. He was sitting on that one for a while, but he's not wrong. I've always
Yes,
thought
he
that
is.
way.
Don't do that. Don't do
Yes,
that.
he is
Don't
wrong.
do that.
No, let me do it. Well, let me do it. I'll do it then, and I'm only gonna do it
Okay.
so y'all can shout me down. So y'all can both shout me down.
Okay.
Because
Go
I've
ahead.
always felt that way. It's the same way about the NFL, even though nobody else is playing American football, like on that level. I get the global game that the NBA is and the level of global international talent in the NBA, and it is the best league in the world. So based on credibility and based on level, it's entitled to call itself World Championship. But like, it's kind of hard to have the World Championship and then the World Cup and then the Olympics. Like, I'm a technical thinker. So from a technical standpoint, he's not wrong. From a reputation standpoint, he is. And we all know why. It's obvious. But technically,
Right.
you can't have the World Championships and NBA World Champions. That's not congruent. You see where I'm coming from, Vinny?
The devil don't need an advocate. You ever heard that one? The devil don't need an advocate. And you don't need to advocate for this nonsense, okay? For one, I did a quick Google search, right? And I looked up the championship hats for the last 3 years in the NBA. You know what's not
World
on any of
champions.
them? World champions
What?
is not on them. So for him saying it's world champions on their head, wrong. Then he said what hurts the
That's what
most.
they call themselves.
Fool, why are you hurt? What does the NBA have to do with you running the 100 and 200 that got you hurt?
Yeah.
Clown. Like, it's not like the technical part of it, Michael Smith. That's what I'm saying. The devil don't need an advocate. And secondly,
No, but he's right. I'm not advocating for the devil. He's actually right. He's
Michael,
right.
the best 400 players playing basketball in the world
Yes.
are playing
Yes.
in the NBA. Players flock
1,000%.
Players flock from wherever they live to play in the National Basketball Association. If there's a better team than the current champions, then show them to me. Because
hold on, Michael.
exactly.
Hold on, Michael.
Wait.
1 second. Hold on, Michael. 1 second.
Come
Hold
on,
Vinny.
come on. Don't-
Your tone, I love it. And the tone of everybody that clapped back at him, you talk about him being hurt, y'all real sensitive. Ain't nobody
Yes.
arguing with whether or
Yes.
not the NBA is the best league in the world by far. Nobody's arguing that. It's the title
Okay.
of world champions that's extremely narrow-minded because it's not a
narrow-minded.
world competition. That's all.
It
That's
is.
all
It
he's
is.
saying, and that's all
Okay.
I understand. Nobody's saying that there's a better team
Hey.
somewhere else, Michael.
Hey, listen.
Why y'all getting sensitive?
Noah has been on the ark so long that he's in the wrong decade now. He's in the wrong decade. He's talking about 1983 NBA. He's got a case because in 1983 we didn't have Giannis and we didn't have Jokic and we didn't have guys from all over the world. And
okay.
In 1983, hold on a second. In 1983, we didn't have pros playing in the Olympics. It can't be apples to apples. It's not track. Okay, it's not track. So there are no ongoing. You're fighting.
Right.
You're fighting and running against
Right.
people from different countries. But in Olympic competition, we've seen the U.S. in Olympic competition. It usually works out pretty well. We've seen the best basketball players from all over the world. And most of them acknowledge all over the world, nobody tells them to say this, the best league in the world is the
Yes.
National Basketball Association.
So I got an idea.
So, hey,
Vinny,
dog,
Vinny, didn't you get
Noah.
the finals logo changed, Vinny? Didn't you lead that movement to get the finals logo changed? Didn't you do that?
Sure.
How
that was me.
about we call it the World Basketball Association? What do you think? Since it's such a global game, and
No,
it's the best
it is a
players in
global
the world, and you world
It
champions, let's call it the World instead of the National Basketball Association.
You know what?
See, this is where I'm admittedly being contrarian for the sake of being contrarian, because I want Vinny's head to explode on live television.
No,
but
you
he's
know
not
what, man?
wrong.
You know
He's
what,
not
dog?
wrong.
This is
You know what this is? Michael,
this
you are
is-
being unnecessarily emotional. And secondly, you know what Noah Lyles sounds
You
like?
just yelled at me.
You know, no, I didn't. Wait. You know what Noah Lyles just sounds like? He sounds like that great clip off the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when Lou walked out on Will and wouldn't take him on something. You know what he sound like? How come they don't want me, y'all? He sound like a guy that's honestly kind of jealous of why these dudes getting all this adoration and y'all don't know who the hell I
even
am.
is.
I think
He said
he's
that hurts the most.
He's caught up in this world championship environment, Michael.
Well, why would you be
but he
thinking about
got me.
basketball
I
players
should-
when you just finished running track and field?
And I can't believe I fell for it. Vinny and Mike, I can't believe I fell for it because I know it's almost like it's like Prince Akeem going into McDowell's talking about a game he saw between the Packers and the Giants. You know what I mean? Like, I can't explain this to you, bro.
Through a big H.
You're so, I mean, he's so literal. I can't believe that he pulled me down this rabbit hole and I'm arguing. He's sitting up there laughing, and they're laughing. They're not laughing with him. They're laughing at him because it's great.
I'm sitting up here defending him. So I guess that makes both of us so smart till we're dumb. So let's move on, shall we? Okay. Let's move on because we haven't talked about it. This is like several days old. But Michael and I, we didn't talk about it last week. Vinny, you probably talked about it on Good Word with Goodwill podcast. We ain't talked about us. I was watching Winning Time last night, season 2. It's so good. And so there's the mythology of Magic Johnson. And obviously the recent conversation was Gilbert Arenas saying that Steph was the best point guard ever, and Steph predictably agreeing with that. And I would love to know where two old heads like you come down on it, because I think it's still Magic as a point guard. This is where it comes down for me. We're talking about this. What do you want out of a point guard? Magic is the prototypical point guard. If we're talking about a basketball player, just a basketball player, like that's where I think that's where they are rare air wise, Vinny. These two guys are in such rare air to where we're talking about basketball player, take your pick, and there's no better basketball player than Steph Curry. I also think it does Steph Curry a disservice to put him in just point guard debates because he doesn't play like Magic Johnson did.
No
more than LeBron plays like
too.
Michael Jordan did. Well, sure, if you want, Vinny, what say you? And shout out to Isiah Thomas, because I know Isiah Thomas is coming up, Vinny.
Vinny, before you answer, Vinny, isn't it funny that Michael Smith, who is now, hey Mike, happy birthday, bruh. We weren't on the air when you had your birthday. Michael Smith, who is 9 years younger than me and a little bit older than you, is calling you an old head. How you feel about that? I think that's just funny, but go ahead and answer. Because you're younger. You're the youngest one in this conversation.
That's fair.
By far the youngest one here in this conversation. Let's point that out.
Calm down. Okay, now.
Secondly, first off, defund Gilbert Arenas. Okay, we need to defund Gilbert in this podcast. All right. Secondly, I don't think Steph Curry shouldn't say anybody other than him is the greatest point guard. He's close enough to the argument and the discussion. But here's what I will say. Point guard is the only position in the NBA where your responsibilities from night to night, from game to game, from quarter to quarter will change. Nobody was better at that than Magic Johnson and Isiah Thomas. They had a plan A, a plan B, a plan C. Steph Curry, as great as he is, undeniably great as he is, his plan A is his plan B. He gonna shoot the hell out of the ball, and if it go in, it go in, and if it don't, it don't. Magic could play out of the post. Magic could run Showtime. Magic could do everything that you needed him to do. Isiah Thomas could play in a style that was completely unconducive to his individual talent in a big man's game and get 2 titles out of it in the era of Magic, Bird, and Jordan. He's got Magic, Jordan, and Bird blood on every one of his banners, and there is no player in the NBA history at that size that can claim that. Not even Steph Curry can claim that he's got all of those greats on his wall. That's no shot to him. That is just saying these are who the greatest point guards of all time are, because this is what you need them to do. Steph is great. Magic is in the GOAT conversation and undersold in the GOAT conversation, and we will not disrespect Isiah Thomas on these parts.
But for Steph, though, I don't know that we can play a positionless game the way we do in 2023 and reduce Steph to a point guard debate. Like, he's never going to be 6'9". He's never going to average 11 assists a game.
You can't have it both ways. Don't call it a positionless game and then say he's the best point guard.
I didn't say he was. I didn't say Steph was.
Or to have the point guard conversation. If it's positionless, why are we having a point guard conversation?
Blame Gilbert Arenas. Blame Gilbert Arenas.
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us
3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.